The Tabernacle of David Assembly is located along Given Lubinda Road, also known as Lilai Road, of Tokyo Way, formerly Ring Road, on the right before Choppies in Liwala, South Lusaka. The church is affiliated with the Pentecostal Assemblies of God Zambia. It was founded in January 2004 by Bishop Harrison Sakala, who is the current senior pastor. He explains the position of the church concerning the missions outreach.
The Tabernacle of David Assembly, since its inception in 2004 in my living room, has grown to be a strong mission-oriented church because this is the mandate that God gave us, that we must be a mission church. Now, what you're about to see, or what you are seeing in this presentation, is a mission to Chideza. We've been having so many mission thrusts. We've been to Lubushi, we've been to Chideza a number of times. But this last one was on a slightly bigger size than the other 3 times we've been there. Basically what we do is that even though our main aim is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, but we are also mindful of what Jesus said when the disciples told him that they have run out of food. Jesus said, give them something to eat. And then, of course, he asked if there was any food, and the little boy came with fish and bread, which he multiplied and fed everyone. So if we are to be effective in the preaching of the gospel, we felt as the Tabernacle of David Assembly that we have to take care of the needs.
The Tabernacle of David Assembly is a Pentecostal church with an emphasis on evangelism, discipleship, and missions. It is a perfect place for imperfect people who are then introduced to the perfect Savior. The church, however, reaches out to other parts of Zambia, especially the rural areas. This year, the church was on a missions trip to Chideza in Eastern Province for the holistic ministry led by Elder Mulenga, who is the director of missions.
The Chideza mission trip took place this year in 2022 in the month of June. It started on the 30th June and ended on the 2nd of July. That is in Eastern Province. It's about 65 kilometers from Chipata district into the rural areas of Eastern Province. When we went for the outreach, primarily we went to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, bringing people closer to God so that they could receive salvation and be saved.
A holistic missions has to do with the whole of God's mission to the world. The complete mission of the church is to fulfill God's given task, including preaching the gospel and meeting the whole range of human needs. The component parts of the Tabernacle of David's holistic missions are preaching the gospel, teaching, providing medical services, and building infrastructure.
House that we built for Chideza using the resources from Tabernacle of David. So I would like to take you inside so that you see some of the details that have been, where we have a facility for pumping water, where the meters and everything else was fixed, so it's controlled from this place.
The Tabernacle of David mission is to mimic the earthly ministry of Jesus, who is characterized by the deeds of mercy and acts of kindness, as can be seen through providing medical services, sharing materials, building structures, and other donations.
But at the back of that, we also had humanitarian aid. So we had medical staff within our church, mobilized ourselves, and then bought medical equipment and medical drugs, which we were giving out to the patients. They were being treated on site. Some of them were being operated. Some of them, we had to operate them from the Chipata General Hospital. Some operations were major, some were minor, but all that took place during the outreach.
So this is the condition that he's been suffering for over 5 years now. So he'll be attended to today by the doctor.
We have alleviated this patient from carrying a huge mass on his posterior aspect of his neck, which was hindering his daily activity. It was disturbing his own sleep because he could not sleep because all the time he had this mass on his neck, so he could not even sleep on his back. The aspect of him interacting with other people in the community. All the time, people could give him a very strange look wherever he passed. So the social aspect and his social interaction would definitely change. These are some of the things which hinder even people from coming to church.
So to Togo, for the Tanzania, Nati Tandiza, Alero Nikobuino, Nibinondi Todi, or Hito Bongo, Zen in Karamba, Ningasel, Fajam, Pavia, Chipata, Nati Tandiza. So to Togo, to Yami Chipata,
we want to thank the provincial medical officer for his generosity in allowing us to minister in his region, to a point that when they saw that the doctors we had carried were overwhelmed by the numbers of people, he had to call 2 doctors from Lundazi to come and join us in camp. And by doing that, it was made easy for our doctors to work with other people. These are doctors who are members of the church. They are deacons. But they do lay aside their profession, take leave from work, and offer themselves to go and work. Others are dentists. Others are opticians. Others are medical doctors. We even have a senior surgeon, a professor for that matter, who would sleep on the floor just to go and offer a service to people. We operated close to 36 people. As you may see, some of those serious operations, but they were done. Others were on the waiting list to come to Lusaka for an operation maybe in February. But we went to where they were and were able to do what we did, working among them.
Pastor Martin Lesser's one-to-one ministry shows about 150 people who gave their lives to Christ under his guidance whilst he was there.
Personally enjoyed ministry on a one-on-one basis when we are all just asking people to come and be prayed for, and at some point you feel like you are done with praying for people, then others still keep coming. So I think for me as a pastor it was a joy to minister to a number of people with various challenges and situations. I think one notable one is where we prayed for a child that was just turned 2 years but not being able to walk. I think today, we prayed yesterday, today the mother was telling me that the child has started standing, and we just prayed that the child will continue now, start walking. So we've seen God save people. On an average, I think I've seen about 150 people give their lives to Christ, and which is the greatest of everything that we are doing.
In a rural area, the lack of basic needs is common, like in other rural parts of Zambia. People who had challenges walking could be brought to the time-based mission center for dental clinics, general medical checks, and minor and major operations. The obvious ministry that may be neglected in parts of Zambia is the children's ministry. Pastor Muziamba and others were on hand to ensure local leaders got training in that regard.
Discovered that in this area, that is completely dead. There's no children's ministry, there's no youth ministry. Done quite a lot. And one of the things that we've done also is to meet the church leaders, the pastors, and the other members. And the purpose of that meeting was to talk about the importance of children and also youth ministry.
The mission in Chideza included everything where attention is required in most Zambian rural areas. Elder Richard Zulu of Chideza thanked the Tabernacle of David Church for bringing development to his area.
I'm Richard Zulu. Zinalanga ni Zulu Richard. Elder wa Chideza mission. So niyamikira the Tabernacle of David zamene batibwesera kuno kwatu. Kuno kwatu kunali typical kunali zinthu ziti zooneka pamene zionekera apa banje. Kwa chitika chitukuko chachikulu kuno kwatu. Ngakhale boma amene akansela olo kapina MP bathandizako. Chifukwa chani kunalibe manzi pano patinabe manzi timamana ng'ombe. Koma nawo Tabernacle of David yatibwesa chani? Yatibwesera manzi. Tilina manzi ambiri. Tilina okay, vindu vaoneka pa change. Vaoneka ko change pano pamene tinkhala. So niwaya mikira ba Tabernacle of David ndi Harrison Sakala na bamulenga na about the whole mission group yamene itithandiza kuno.
Missions work at Tabernacle of David is supported by the members and other believers with a passion for winning souls.
One may say, where do you get the money? I remember when we went to Lubushi, they asked to say, who funds you? Nobody funds us.
Nine pastor o tungulo la ifilonganino ifili 24. Pafilonganino kuchale peshapo kwaba pontini ukuingaba nangula 85 kilometers. Edo na imbi iaba kuchimpampa. Pamulandu wakufika mulishe nchende imomfya motorbike iyo wa Tabernacle Assemblies of God vampele na hii transport yari angusha imirimo.
Tabernacle of David is the church. They helped me so much where every month I was getting my salary to say, and which really helped me so much because here in Gorge, that was like pioneer work. Things were really tough going, but God saw me through. That I didn't even experience much of that, and I knew I had parents. They really parented me to say. So all this I appreciate, and I shared with the bishop that we want our own land, because by then we were meeting it in a classroom. So I believed God for our land, and Kafue Gorge land, it belongs to Zesco, and they were not giving lands to any church. But I shared this with the bishop, and we shared with the church. We continued praying until God intervened. We were given the land. When the land was given, I shared with the bishop that we would want to have a tent. And indeed, God intervened, and he used the bishop who pushed everything until the tent it came.
And just next to it, I have this motorbike that I'm holding. This motorbike is a runner, a perfect running condition. This was donated by Tabernacle of David in Osaka, Assemblies of God.
I know there are many other sons and daughters who may not even be under Tabernacle of David or under our dad, Bishop Harrison Sakala, but who have actually been impacted by this ministry, Tabernacle of David. So we honor God for the mission thrust, both local missions and foreign missions, and also the church planting a thrust that Tabernacle of David has had. The excellent leadership that is displayed and showed. So we are grateful from South Africa, from Friends of God Ministry International, saying Shalom. The Lord bless you. Thank you very much.